Where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. God has given us unlimited treasures in His Word. Every time we open it, we can discover a new treasure or admire an old one. What will we find today? Here's Carla Early with Treasure Hunt in the Word.
Who is the person in your life that you've known the longest? Maybe it's your parents or sibling, or a best friend from high school that you still keep in touch with, or even your spouse. How long have you known that person? In Genesis 23, Abraham and Sarah had known each other for over 127 years. Not only had they grown up together, but since she was his half-sister, he had probably even held her as a baby. And according to Abraham, his beautiful bride of over 100 years had been just as beautiful at 90 as she was at 20. They had been through a lot together. First, the adventure of being called out of Ur, then out of their father's house to go to a land God would give them. The husband's calling always translates into the wife's calling too. Each of the promises God gave Abraham also applied to Sarah. The land, the descendants, the blessings, they were all hers as well. The couple had cried over Sarah's barrenness, yet Abraham had not taken a second wife or even a concubine until Sarah suggested it. Even then, he referred to Hagar as Sarah's servant to do with as she pleased. They had laughed together at the thought of such an old couple being blessed with a son, and they had raised Isaac together for 37 years. They had seen him grow to maturity. God had given them blessing upon blessing, and Sarah, like Abraham, had been faithful and trusting. Sarah is the only woman in the Bible whose age and death is recorded. Not only that, but more of the Bible is taken up with her story than any other woman. We think of Father Abraham as the patriarch of both Jews and Christians, but Mother Sarah was important to God as well, the matriarch of both religions. Sarah was important to God, and so are you. God values each person, and He uses women for His purposes too, flawed, sinful women like Sarah. And like you, if you're a woman. Abraham passed his test in Genesis 22, but in chapter 23, he faced another test, the death of his wife. After 127 years together, that must have been heart-wrenching for him. But his adventure with God was not over. He didn't die until after the birth of his grandchildren, Esau and Jacob. So he had to go on without Sarah. The first order of business was to bury her. God had promised to give Abraham's family the entire land of Canaan, but it wasn't his yet. He was only a sojourner, a foreigner, so he needed to buy a piece of property that would be his from the Hittites in Hebron. The Hittites obviously thought highly of Abraham, calling him a prince of God among us. They offered him whatever property he wanted, for free, but he insisted on paying for it. This is the first real estate deal in the Bible. By faith, Abraham bought part of the promised land to bury his wife. This step of faith showed how much Abraham trusted God's promises to him. So this is the second test in a row that Abraham passed with an F for faith. He showed himself and those around him that he loved and trusted God above all else, even above his beloved son and wife. When we are tested, do we prove that we trust God and His promises to us? How can we show this in our daily lives?
You can contact us at treasurehuntintheword@gmail.com. We'd love to hear the treasures God has given you through His Word. You can listen to other episodes on our website, which you can find in the description below. Thank you for listening, and remember, where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.